Hello. Okay, welcome to today's session. So, today I'm going to give you 12 tips, 12 tips that will help you on the day that you will be sitting for your IELTS reading test. Okay, the 12 very important things that you need to have in mind and use them for you to get that 7+7+ band score in your reading test, IELTS reading test. Either you're aiming at a 7.5, 8, 8.5, or even 9, okay? It is very possible. So I'm giving you these 12 tips that will help you achieve that goal because it is very possible. Okay? So get your pen and a paper and take notes. All right. Number 1, okay? Be wary of time. Of course, this is very, very important. The IELTS reading test, you have 60 minutes. You have 60 minutes to answer a total of 40 questions. All right. And this, like I said in my previous videos, you have 3 sections in the reading test. So you need to manage your time well. The recommended time is 20 minutes, at most 20 minutes in each section. If you manage to spend only 15 minutes in your first section, the better, and because that is what you really need to work on. If you can spend 15 minutes to finish section 1, 15 minutes to finish section 2, that means you've bought a good 10 minutes to carry on to section 3. All right. Spend your 20 minutes in section 3. This means you have a good 10 minutes that you've saved to finish, to go through your answers and check if everything is okay. So make sure you check or manage your time well. At most 20 minutes in each section, but it is a good idea that you try as much as possible not to maximize all the 20 minutes in one section. Try and target 15 minutes. And how do you get this to these 15 minutes in one section? Practice. Practice and practice. As you practice, you improve on your reading speed, on your, on how you tackle each, all the types of question types. By the time you get to the test, you are good, okay? So if you can save some 5 minutes from section 1, save another 5 minutes from section 2, section 3, get your 20 minutes, and then you'll have a total of 10 minutes for you to go through the answers. So that is one, very important. The moment if you find yourself spending 25 minutes in one section, just know there's a problem. You don't want to get to section 3. By the time you are in section 2, the invigilator says, okay, you have 5 minutes remaining to go. You know what that will mean. All right, so manage your time well. Number 2, notice spatial features. Notice spatial features. What do I mean? Things like anything written in bold, anything written in capital letters, especially in the instructions. Instructions, mostly they come in under the instructions. There's always something that you'll find, some wordings that you'll find that are written in capital letters. There are some words that will be written in what is that, in either in italics, all right, or some words that are, what is that, bold. Yes, they are either in bold, they are written in italics, or in capital letters. So watch out for features, such a kind of features, because they carry some meaning, all right, especially when you are going, you are reading the instructions. Watch out for those things, and things like figures, figures, anywhere you'll see a number, figures written, maybe is some currency, an amount, such a kind of features. It is good to just mark them. Like I said, anything, any key words or key things that you feel that might help you to answer the questions, underline. Underline or circle or highlight, whichever term that you will use there. All right. The next, also the headings. Headings are also very, very important. So make sure you check, you really take note on the headings, because they will they might or not might. Headings carry a lot when it comes to you answering the questions in the IELTS reading test. All right. The next, checking here, number three, trying to get back to my PowerPoint, which is not responding on my side here. Exit full screen. All right. Hope this will work. Right. Number three. Okay. I think I might have to end this sharing. I'll bring it back again. I'm not sure why it wasn't responding. So give me 1 second. I need to reshare my screen again. Okay. There you go. Number three. Point number three. Take words from the reading text. You'll encounter, or there are some question types that will require you to answer questions or give answers using words from the text. If you come across these kind of questions that require you to pick or to choose words from the text for each answer, make sure you don't interchange, you don't paraphrase, you don't introduce synonyms. Remember, in the reading and listening test, I've talked about the use of synonym and the paraphrasing. But in this case, if you are required, the instructions read like you are required to choose or use the words from the text. That is what it means. Just get the words as they are in the text and use them as, write them as an answer. So do not change the order of the words in the text. Do not change the order. Do not paraphrase. Do not use any synonym. Okay, that is very important. Number four, predict answers. Predict answers. What do I mean by this? Especially this is very important, especially if you are dealing with what is that? Completion of maybe sentences or paragraph completion. You might be given a brief extract from the long text that you're reading, something, maybe a few sentences extracted from the text, and you are required to fill in the missing information in the blanks. So there are some things that, things like, just immediately, you can be able to predict the answers from, and just predict the type of the word that is, that you are likely to put in the blank space provided. For example, if the blank space is comes after like an article, like we all know that, oh, not we all know, you should know that if you see anything, the article a or an, what follows? It is usually a noun that follows, or if not a noun, an adjective. All right. And you should also know, I don't want to assume, you should also know that an adjective, it's always followed by a noun. So if you find that those are the kind of things that should give you a clue. If, for example, if you're given a text that says, the teacher came in with a dash blue pen. A dash blue pen. Okay, so you should be able to figure out the kind of word that you are required. So this is where the subject, the sentence structure comes in. Your familiarity with the sentence structure. We have subject, we have object, what subject, verb, object. The sentence structure, the symbol sentence structure. There's always the subject, there's a verb or a doing word or the action, and then followed by the object, which is obviously and always a noun. Subject is a noun, object is a noun, and then a doing word in between. So this is where your sentence structure, knowledge comes in to help you figure out the word that you'll be looking for in the text. Am I looking for a noun? Am I looking for a verb? Am I looking for an adjective? All right, so predict your answers. All right, so watch out for paraphrasing and synonyms. Of course, these I've talked about it both in listening and reading. This is something that is very, very common. And so your use of variety of vocabulary, okay? This is where it's put to test. So watch out for that. What you need to understand is that it's not always that you'll find the same words that are used in the question will appear the same way in the text. You will find a synonym or a different word used, which means the same as the word that is maybe you've read in the text. So watch out for the paraphrasing and the synonyms. Very, very important. All right. Number 6, of course, adhere to the word limit. Word limit, word limit. This is where the following of instructions come in. If you've been asked to use not more than one word, do not write 2 words. If you've been asked to use not more than 2 words, do not write 3 words. Even if whatever you write is the correct answer, but if you got the wording, the number of words wrong, you lose the whole point. Remember, in the reading test, 1 question equals to 1 point. So you lose 1 point. You get a wrong in a question, you lose a whole point. So make sure you are there to the word limit. Things like articles coming before a noun, like a pen, a book, those are counted as 2 words. So if it is not necessary, especially if you are asked to use not more than 1 word, if an answer is book, do not write a book, because this counts as 2 words and you get that question wrong, or that answer, you get it wrong. Number 7, don't be puzzled by unfamiliar words, of course. Sometimes, of course, even if you're so familiar with the language, you are so good with the English language, there is always that one word, maybe the article you are reading, you'll always come across a word that is not, so familiar. So what do? Don't panic, because most people, what happens the moment you encounter unfamiliar what is that vocabulary, you start panicking and try to figure out what the meaning of the words could be. But what do you do at this point? Just do not panic. One thing you need to know, it is very possible that these words may not even be anywhere near the answer, or you might not even need them to trace your answer. So don't panic if you come across a word that you are not familiar. All right. Or if in case you really need to figure out the meaning, you can always, depending on the text, there are different ways that you can get meanings out of words. One of them is trying to figure out a meaning from the context. From the context, if you are reading, if you understand the context well, even if this is a word that you've never seen, you can be able to figure out what the possible, what it implies, depending on the context of the text that you are reading. So do not be, don't panic if you encounter any vocabulary that you are not familiar with. One, you need to know that you might not even need to use that word. You might not need it for you to trace the answer to the question. Or two, if really need be, you need to figure out the meaning. Try to get that, figure out the meaning using the context of the text that you are reading. All right, number 8. Be mindful of grammar and spelling. Very important. Grammar, if you write the correct answer, but the spelling is wrong, you lose the point. All right. The same thing with grammar. So be mindful of your grammar and spelling. Things like the singular and plural. You need to be very, very keen. If a question requires you to give an answer in plural, but you give it in singular, you lose a whole 1 point. So make sure you check out on that, because these are the ways that as we do practice with test takers, these are ways that we see people losing points, as we do practice. So be mindful of your grammar and your spelling, and especially things to do with singular and plural. If you are required to write a singular answer, write a singular answer. If you're required a plural, write a plural answer. Anything other than that, you lose the whole point. All right. Next, number 9, write your answers on the answer sheet. Like I said in my listening test video, so if you haven't watched my video on the IELTS listening test, kindly take some time and go and look it up. Watch it. It has a lot of tips and a lot of information. So unlike the IELTS listening test, where you are required, or where it is recommended that you write your answers on the question paper before you transfer them to the answer sheet. When it comes to the reading section, you write your answers directly on the answer sheet. Reason being, you do not have any extra time like in the IELTS listening for you to transfer your answers from the question paper to the answer sheet. So once you trace an answer, just write it directly on your answer sheet. In case maybe it's an answer that you are 50-50, you are not so sure, you feel that you will need to come back to it, just put some star, put a mark there, at least so that once you're done all through and you've saved some 5 minutes, you can always come back and check and make sure that is the answer you want to stick to. So, and very important, it's always advised that during the test, you use a pencil. You use a pencil. Reason being, it is so easy for you, especially if you are doing the paper-based test. Like I said in one of my videos, the IELTS test is either done, we have computer-based and we have paper-based. So if you are doing the paper-based IELTS test, use a pencil. Reason being, it is easier for you to erase in case you change your mind on the answer that you had already written. So this is so in your reading, IELTS reading test, write your answers on the answer sheet because you do not have any extra time for you to transfer your answers. All right, number 10, attempt all the questions, of course. Just like I said in the IELTS listening, do not leave any blank. It's okay for you to skip a question and go on and finish the rest of the questions, but make sure you come back and fill any blanks that you've left. Do not leave any blank space. If you're not so sure about an answer, just guess. And of course, this is a reading test. Remember, all the answers are found in the text that you're reading. All the answers are there. So at least, unlike the listening, where you are trying to guess, trying to remember the context that you were listening, maybe an audio in the first section or second or third. In the reading, you have the text there with you. Just get back and figure out and guess if really, really you are not very sure. But do not leave any blank space. So attempt all the questions. Number 11, use uppercase if required. I know this is what I advised in my video for the IELTS listening. It applies the same here with the IELTS reading test. Uppercase, the use of uppercase or lowercase is not tested. When the marking is done, you will never be disqualified or you will never be penalized for using uppercase or capital letters or small letters to write your answers. So instead, actually, that is the most recommended. Since that is not tested, the use of small or capital letters, it's safer. It is safer for you to use all capital letters when you're doing the IELTS reading test. Just like I advised when you're doing the IELTS listening test. These are the two tests that you are allowed. It's allowed. You can go all capital letters and nobody will penalize you for that. So it is easier, you avoid a lot of errors and all that, especially when you're using uppercase to write your answers. So use capital letters. And finally, check all your answers. Make sure once you've done everything, go through all the questions, go through your answers, and check your answers before you submit your answers. Your papers. Of course, you're submitting your question paper and your answer sheet. But for you to remember, no answer sheet is marked. Your answer sheet will not be marked. So that it is very important that all your answers are always written on your answer sheet. And the reason why it is very important for you to save some minutes from each of the sections, so that once you're done with section 3, at least you have like 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes for you to go through your answers and check that you've done everything correct. You've written your names, you've written all the information that is required, and answered all the questions. All right. So this is all I needed to share today. And one thing you need to know, if you follow all this information that I've shared today, your test day, your reading test day will be so easy. No anxiety, no panic, no nothing, and everything will be okay. So until next time,